so much, Jamie, Lisa, and Reindorf. Thank you for being here. To start and to kick off a little bit, I just love to hear, by way of an introduction, a little bit of who you are and what is your why, like who you are, where you are now, and like why you decided to get into coaching in the capacity that you are now. And I think we can kick off with Lisa, then we'll go Jamie, and then we'll go Paolo. How's that?
Good. Thanks for having me first. I'm going to try to make this sort of quick. Um, the why is like just through my life experience, finding, I think, the need and like the ability to impact somebody. I didn't know that as a player. I never wanted to be a coach. I never thought, I never had ambition. I always wanted to just be the player. And then through some like significant hardship in my life and challenges, I got a second chance at soccer in a very unique way through Street Soccer USA and a homeless adult World Cup tournaments. And it really like changed and like saved my life in a way that was not around how good of a player I was. It was about like connecting with the game and truly connecting with people. And I got to see how many people have never had that experience. And so I just like literally like knew I could change somebody's life by sharing with them what we get as a kid playing soccer, what we get as a collegiate athlete, high school player, whatever. It never occurred to me that people didn't have those experiences and how important they are to change for someone's life and to have hope and to have purpose and to have ambition. And so that's become my why.
So much for sharing that, Lisa. It's I'll come back to this in a second because I have things I would like to dig deeper, but I'll let Jamie go with her introduction. I was taking notes because the words you were mentioning were just so powerful. So thank you for sharing that.
Hi, my name is Jamie Lavoy, and I got involved in coaching at a pretty young age because I wanted to earn some extra money as a trainer, and I didn't want the normal job of the 9 to 5, and then through playing college, I think my why kind of changed. A lot of my teammates and stuff, they didn't really enjoy the game. They were, I'd hear oh, I'm here because I'm on scholarship, and so otherwise I wouldn't be playing, and it was kind of disappointing to me. So I wanted to create an environment that was going to be very passionate, where you're there because you want to be there, you love it, you have the resources to be successful. So and then also because after college I didn't really know who I was. You go from training and playing games 5 days a week, and then all of a sudden you have nothing. And so it was like, well, what do I do now? And because there wasn't as many opportunities to play professional after college, and I definitely wasn't at that caliber. But soccer was still a big part of my life that I wanted to create an environment where women could still play at an extremely high level, but also have those opportunities to work in another industry, whether they're like a doctor or an architect or whatever it may be. So you don't have to lose that identity that has been such a big part of your life for so long. So that's kind of evolved into my why, and then also building out our community outreach portion of it.
Thank you for sharing that, Jamie. Sorry, sometimes there's a bit of a lag with my computer. I apologize. Thank you for sharing that, Jamie. And Reindorf, we'd love to hear a bit from you.
Hi, yes, my name is Reindorf, also known as Balo. I initially started coaching after college, and after graduating, I got hurt playing, and I saw coaching as a way to like get a second chance in soccer and give back to the community that gave me a lot. Showing giving being able to come back and giving them the knowledge that I was able to acquire through my journey in soccer and college, and be able to like help the next generation achieve their goals, and also help them grow as men and women and become the best version of themselves, helping them achieve their goals, setting up goals for those who don't know how to, and be able to like have that confidence to work out both on the field and off the field to become the best selves in the long run, and be a positive role model for the next generation that comes after them as well.
Thank you, Reindorf. That's a great segue into my next prepared question, which was so much about coaching, regardless of the level in which it happens, whether it's on a recreational level or whether it's with youth, whether it's working in college or on a professional team. So much about coaching goes beyond teaching just the technical skill, and goes into more of a role model and understanding also that there's a mentorship component to coaching. And so I'd love to open the floor a little bit, and it doesn't have to go in the same order, but like if you'd like to share a moment in which you realized your role as a mentor, the importance of your role as a mentor in someone else's life, going beyond that technical transfer of skills.
I can jump in. Or go ahead.
Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, for me, it started. I say like about a year after I started coaching. So yeah, I came back to came back to the team that I got graduated from in high school. That I played there, and a lot of the kids looked at me as a role model, because I was part of the program. I went through the same system, and I was able to like get to college and and play and graduate from college with a scholarship as well. So they always came up to me for like any questions or any problem they had, and I was able to like help them out the best way I can. And with that, I felt like it was a great honor, because it was like it was me, it was them having trust in me, and me being able to like not achieve, but start my new journey as a mentor and as a coach that I never really like thought about. It just like came up to me, and I accepted it at the moment.
I can jump in kind of on what Reindorf was saying as a mentor. I don't know, it reminded me as a player, I was a terrible role model and mentor. I was so selfish, and I was a forward, and it was all about me and scoring goals, and I wanted to go professional. So it's like, if you weren't helping me to get the job done, then there was no value for you. And that's like how I saw it. And I think our teammates too, is like, if you're not adding to the field, then let's find somebody that will do it. And I overlooked a lot of why people chose to play soccer on those teams. And a lot of it was they were going through difficult things. They loved the game, but they didn't want to play on, but they didn't want to stop playing. Like, there's a lot of life that happens that I was not able to see as a player. And as a selfish player, I got to see where that selfishness took me in life later on, which was not a good place. And so I got to learn and try to later on, becoming a coach, try to like help others see that is not a quality that is going to provide success. And then again, kind of with Street Soccer USA and a lot of our events, they're focused on not your average soccer players. They're focused on people who have recently gotten out of homelessness or addiction and are interested in soccer as a way to learn something new about themselves that they can use to be a better person in life. And so seeing how so many people, you can see someone's true character, I feel like, when they're playing. Like, that is like the most honest window into somebody's life, is how they play. And so it's an opportunity too to recognize like strengths that someone doesn't see in themselves, and you can affirm that for them, and you can tell them, like, I see this in you on the field, so I know you can do it in life. We just need to like figure out what that lane is. And then also the characteristics that you can warn someone is like, I can promise you that this will not take you where you think you want it to go. Here's another way to do it. And with the trust and the relationships that Rainford mentioned, is like that trust and that they listen to you, whether it's an adult or a kid, is invaluable. And if they love the game, they'll do anything to keep playing. But yeah, definitely being able to like see someone see the strengths in themselves that can extend beyond the field is amazing.
And I think Lisa really hit that with, she talked about the relationships, and I think that soccer, it's a tool that we can use to connect to people on a personal level in all aspects of our life. So yeah, I mean, it's really like through the community outreach work or through working with our players. If somebody coming back from an ACL or whatever, the mental component of all that and the physical hardships that you deal with, that it's just reaching people on a personal level, but being able to be there for them, and then and letting them know that they're seen, and helping build the confidence and giving them the tools. It's whether it's the players in the NWSL or somebody playing for the first time. It's people want to have that connection, and so without that connection, you really can't. You don't teach them. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to view you in that professional space, or they see you as coach, but it's not, hey, I'm there for you first as a person, and I'm secondary. I'm here to teach you some soccer skills.
And I hear over and over the trust and the relationship being like a central part in the coaching process. I hear over and over the reaffirming someone of things that they can do, even though they can't see it themselves. And so being that almost like visionary and like facilitator of life decisions, and saying like, hey, and whether it's on the field or off the field, right? Because it could be, no, if you do these things, you'll get there, right? Like, so helping the player or the person envision themselves, it seems like it's part of the exercise as well. I'd love to hear an example through each of your organizations and the work that you currently do of something where coaching some like a skill that could have been coached in a tangible way that could be transferred off the field. So like how resilience or something around the physical or the technical skill could then become something that was coached off the field. In a concrete example, if you have any that come to mind recently.
I got one. So we just recently hosted the Homeless World Cup in Sacramento this past summer. And that event is kind of spectacular in that it gives kind of your everyday people in the world a chance to know what it's like to feel like a star on the field. And that experience is mostly carved out for your most elite athletes, where they have an audience, where they have these high intense moments where you can score a game-winning goal and there's a crowd to do that, or to be there to cheer you on. And we can facilitate a lot of it, but just like in life, like you can't do it for them, but you can set it up. We had this woman this last year named Sienna she's been homeless on and off for the last 5 years of her life, crazy trauma, hardship, but she always played soccer as a kid and was good. And even though she hadn't played in a long time, like her energy on the field, she would exert so much effort and physical effort, whether she believed she had it or not. Like she was one of those players that at a higher level was like the game-winning goal scorer, or like a clutch player that double overtime, like they will still make that last save, they will still make that last run. And I could see this in her, but she hadn't figured out how to like transfer that in life after playing with her long enough and coaching her long enough. And I still didn't really know how much of a leader and like champion was in her until we got to this event setting. And in that event setting, that pressure can make people draw back or step in. And like under that pressure, she became someone I beyond what I thought I knew of her as a leader. And like, she really wasn't in that good of physical shape, but like this energy just came out of her heart. Like it was unbelievable. And then after that week, I knew for sure, like there's nothing that she can't do if she has her mind fixed on it. And I could tell her that, and she believed me. And it was just us now. Like, she had lots of hardships and small barriers pop up as she's trying to finish school, trying to keep her housing, trying to build a relationship. And I could tell her with like 100% honesty, like, Sienna, if you are determined to do this thing, you will get it. And I've seen this because of this game, because you showed up here. And she's like, yeah, you're right. So she could experience it and feel it. And, you know, then she finishes school. Then she finishes the things that she wanted to get. And it was just like, you can't forget what you see in somebody when they really like rise up. But I think players need to hear that with confidence. General feedback is like not the same thing as an example of, I saw you do this and then you did this and then you got back up and you did it again and you looked like you were going to pass out. You know, like those are things they can understand and relate to. And like, and that if they don't have other people to build that identity for them, that's what they build it with that positivity. But yeah, that was like the most recent one. Like, it was so awesome. Good stuff.
For me, it would be one of my recent players that arrived from Italy last year, and he always he has a dream of playing professional, but in the system here compared to Europe is different. So he still had time. He didn't get enough time to adjust, but as the time was going, I've been helping him out and at the moment he wants to play for some of the top D1 schools like UCLA and so on. But he always uses the different excuses to like justify why his grades are low and so on. So I started giving him examples of soccer and schools. I would ask him, hey, would you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning to go play soccer? He's like, yes. I'll really wake up at 6 a.m. to go play soccer. Then the same question about school. Would you wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning to for school? He's like, no, I'll probably take my time. Probably take my time and stuff. So I started showing him, see the difference, right? You would do something because you like it, but you wouldn't do the same thing because you don't like school. So then as I kept on going, I kept on telling me, hey, if you put in the same effort you put in soccer, you'll get the same results in school as well. So just be a lot of the times, like most kids don't do well in school because they look at school as a chore and not something pleasant. So they get demotivated to try or even to like bother putting in any type of effort. So I usually try to like relate it to soccer. Hey, when you mess up in soccer, do you go outside to practice over and over? And it's like, yes, but if you fail a test, would you go back to study over and over again? It's like, no. I'm like, now you see the difference, right? So once I made him understand the difference of the mindset that he had towards school, he started opening his eyes and started putting a little bit more effort into his classes. And then recently he came up to me saying that he started picking up some of his grades. I was like, done. That's a good thing. We still have a lot of time to change we still have a lot of time to change his grades from the ones that he has now to like achieve his goal in reaching a high D1 school that he likes and wants to play over there. So with that, it's more so about the mental toughness that that the players can have and demonstrate as well, both on and off the field.
Yeah, my experience similar, but a little different. I work with older athletes, and so I've seen where maybe they didn't have the best experience, whether it's college or like with a professional team, or they thought their maybe career was over, and where athletes have come in, different ones, like Caitlin Talbert. She played over at Humboldt, which isn't like a big known D1 soccer school. But she played with us a little bit and said, this is, my passion is to play professional and overseas. She came in and she worked really hard, put herself out there, and really, when you mentioned resilience, that's what I think of when I think of her. She just really dug in, and now she's playing for West Ham, and it's just incredible to see how some of these women, they come in from these experiences, but then they lack that confidence for whatever reason, and then they build it up using the game and having fun and relaxing again, and then they're able to go and play at the next level. Yewande Galgan, she thought her career, playing career was over. She was playing with UC Davis or coaching at UC Davis. She was their goalkeeper coach, and we had a scrimmage against them. And I said, hey, you want to jump in and be a goalie? I could really use a goalie today. We don't have ours. Jumped in, and she was phenomenal. And then she started playing with us, and then she got called up to the Nigerian national team, and she was like, I had no idea that I had this. I could still play. And so now she's playing professional overseas. And so my apologies to UC Davis that they lost a goalkeeper coach, but I'm super happy for Yewande that she's pursuing her dream and she's playing professional. It's so cool what the game can do for you and how you can carry that confidence every day in your life from, because you might feel like, oh, I didn't achieve this or I failed at this, and it has an overall effect on you every day. And so when you step up and realize that you can do something that you thought wasn't possible, it opens up other opportunities in your life to, well, what else can I achieve? I didn't think I could do this. I didn't think this was possible. So I think just, having soccer as a tool is just so incredible. And it's such a unique way to have an impact in people's lives, but it really, really does.
Sharing those stories. Thank you for sharing those stories. I hear a through line. So fascinating to hear very different perspectives, but a through line that's very consistent across all of them, which is like there's a mental toughness that comes through. There's a level, allowing someone to kind of take their own steps and take their own path, but being a facilitator of that step taking process as a coach and as a person who's playing that model in their life at that time, right? And Jamie, even in your instance, where it's someone who's older and very much like in the next step of their career, right? Like they're already off to coaching, et cetera, like kind of rediscovering that confidence and through joy and play, which I think is such it resonates very personally to me as a way of living in general. But I hear a lot of this, and it's probably relevant to, I met Reindorf at just because it's so central to coaching, and it's so central to confidence building, and health is a daily practice, right? And so that mental fortitude you're touching upon, and that of not just the coaching process, but also the person carrying the coaching advice or the guidance that is. So how would they that we can speak on either a personal level or also in a incorporate mental health into what is considered a very physical health oriented practice, right? Like in a limited way. Part of what I'd love for us in this panel to address is see coaching as this broader element in people's lives. So could you a little bit about how mental health plays a role in your coaching?
For me personally, I usually have discussions with my players. I feel like that's the first part. So having a normal discussion with all of them to see how the day was, or what they did in school, what if they have different hobbies. Because at times, even if we love the game, we tend to get tired of playing. Sometimes we might need a day off or 2 days off to come back and recoup again. So having that conversation, knowing all the hobbies that they play, so that you can like go like share like have similar discussion with them, and find different ways they can finding different ways they can vent about things, because a lot of the times it comes down to bottled up emotions that they don't get to release up. So how getting getting on top of it early is one thing that I try to do most of the time. There's been a few times where I missed some of the players, but I try my best to like have discussion with everybody, see 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 how they're doing in life, what else I can help them with, well, whatever support they need outside of the field as well, which a lot of times we don't think about, because a lot of the coaches focus more about soccer, not just the not just the athlete's life. So finding out what's going on in their life, if they're struggling at home, or if they're having bad day in school, or whatever the place may be, sitting down, discussing with them, and having a normal conversation with them, because a lot of the youth get treated a lot of the youth get treated like kids, and they don't get to like experience all the normal conversation with adults. And so I try to normalize that as much as possible with all of the athletes.
Um,
Oh, I was just gonna say, I
oh,
think
go ahead.
Randy, that you nailed it. I mean, getting to know them on a personal level is everything, and just checking in with each one, and like make a point to acknowledge each player every day at training. And hey, how you doing? Do you have a good day at school, or how's your mom, or whatever it may be. I think just checking in and watching body language is so huge. So, sorry, Lisa, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Did you have? Was there anything else you wanted to say?
Nope, you're gonna rock it. Go for it.
I think like I wasn't really trained to be a coach, and the way I started was sort of like in my early sobriety and recovery program, which is like a very kind of open, transparent, like honest space. And the first players I coached, I knew exactly what they were dealing with because I was dealing with the same thing. And so we got to have conversations as peers, um, while I was providing the soccer knowledge they didn't have. We were like very much sharing how we were moving through life day to day, as a team or as a unit. And as the years have continued, I think some of the things that like I've adopted just because of what I know how to do intuitively, and that's been like really trying to model. Like I'm not gonna tell some players, or whether adults or kids, to take care of themselves if I'm not taking care of myself, and to hold myself accountable if it's the right group. Like if it's a 5-year-old, I'm probably not gonna have this conversation the same way. But with an adult, like I'll try not to hide my struggles, or I'll let them know like I don't know how this is gonna work, or if I'm afraid of something, whatever. Like I'll share that so they can see me going through those same things. And I found that to be really powerful when it's appropriate, and it puts me in check too. But I think a lot of times it's like you have to see it to know how to do it, and if people don't believe that you never have a challenge, they're not going to believe that you know how to get out of one either. So I want them to listen to me, and so I have to kind of like figure out that balance of not oversharing and making it about me, but also like being willing to let them know like my vulnerabilities, and like I'm going to approach it the exact same way that I'm suggesting you do it. And with at Street Soccer USA, we have a curriculum that it helps to kind of like tie that language together. So it's not about like my suggestion or their suggestion. It's like, this is a thing, this is a process, this is a plan. But yeah, and then that helps them to open up to. I don't know if that'd be the best way for everybody. I've just found that it works well for the folks that we're working with.
Thank you for sharing that, Lisa. I think that your particular line of work with street soccer is one where that intersection very much overlaps. And to your point of when people talk about bringing your full self to work, right? I think it's very much to your point, learning that boundary between, when it's an overshare versus when it's actually helping the athlete or the person in front of me. Because coaching is very much, you're a vessel, you are also a tool. I've heard facilitator, right? Like you are an instrument in many ways, and a guide in this person's life and in their journey. And so if that is something that can contribute to their growth too, and hopefully something that is in feedback or you get, not just like feel good sentiment at the end of it, but also when there's that exchange of energy, whether you're an educator, a coach, or a facilitator in a corporate setting, there's an exchange of energy, and that's very much a cyclical thing too, right? So then I hear a lot of things where people say, "Oh, I learned so much from my students," or "I learned so much from my athletes," and so hopefully that vulnerability and that really bringing your true self translates into something that feels like a good feedback loop for both of you. I heard a little bit too earlier about it was mentioned by, again, I love picking up on these of like, it was a second chance, right? Of whether a second chance at life, a second chance, a different way of staying in the industry of soccer. We have many of the people that join the career fair and that are a part of this event, these couple of days, are in a pivotal moment in their life when they are considering taking one path or another, or they are considering, should I stay here now? Either I am a current coach and I'm deciding if I want to stay in this, if this is for me. Some people might be experiencing some burnout, as Reindorf illustrated earlier too, or it might just be something where someone's seeing another part of their chapter of their life coming to an end and seeing coaching as an opportunity to move into. So I guess my question to you is, in the name of second chances, or in the name of rebirth or another opportunity to stay in the industry, what would your advice be to someone who is either considering entering the field of coaching or exiting the field of coaching? Because it's also a thing, and I use this analogy before, of like learning when to ask for a sub is almost as important as learning when to persevere. And I feel like that, while my question might lead to two very different, and I apologize for stating that the wrong way, I guess, what is your best advice for someone who's in a pivotal moment in their career when they're considering either staying within coaching or moving into coaching as a next professional move?
I think it really depends on what's important to you at this stage of life. I think, for me, I really wanted to work with athletes, and then it's evolved as to what we do. So we do, now we do a lot of community outreach, and now I'm starting to get, I still work with the athletes, but I brought in other coaches who I know will do, a great job. I assist them now. But then I'm also doing the administrative side. I'm doing the community outreach. I'm working the sponsorship side of things. So I think it's really important that that you just understand your own personal why. What do you want to do? What's important to you? And it doesn't have to be always working one-on-one with the athletes. I mean, if you're getting really burnt out, and you hear so many people say, the best way to coach is a bunch of kids that don't have parents, because you don't have to deal with the backlash and dealing with all that. You can just work with the athletes. But if you, let's say, you're also, like Street Soccer does a phenomenal job of their community outreach work. So I've gotten to see that firsthand and work with them firsthand. They're phenomenal at it. And so, doing that, I was able to say, hey, look, we can do more with this sport. We can reach another, a whole nother demographic. And we've even evolved to do now stuff with like people with disabilities. And so I think it's just really understanding your why and what you're being drawn to and that purpose. Because if you're just there just for the paycheck, I think a lot of times you just get burnt out. And it's hard because in coaching, you don't shut it off at 5 o'clock. It's a 24-hour thing. And so you've really got to be passionate about what you do. And if you have that why, then that'll take you a lot further. And I think you'll do a better job too. You'll enjoy your work more.
Yeah, I think Jamie like says some really important things about knowing why. So many elements to coaching, and people do it sometimes. I think it would be important to ask yourself, what do you love about coaching, like related to your why. Is it the like what does it do for you, or what do you think you're best at? Because soccer can be a very technical game where you love the technical side and that's your thing, is you want to create plays and you want to manage the best players so you can do the technical piece. I found that I really love growing a person, and that happens better outside of the professional place. Like, this is like, we're on the ground, we're working with people who have like regular day, experiences, or maybe harder. Same with the kids, is we're not looking to groom the next, best player. We're looking to just introduce them to the joy of the game. And that was what I loved the most about the game. I love to play. So that I felt like I was equipped for that. But I think there's a lot of different opportunities in coaching, and there's also a world where if you're a good coach, you could be a good coach in another industry or another field. Like, there's a lot of transferable things. So I think and if you love coaching, like, I know a lot of people, they wanted a certain income, they couldn't get it coaching. They went and found the thing that would provide them the income they needed, and then they coach for fun. So I think it's like, what do you want coaching to do for you, and like, what's the why, and then what do you like love, what brings you back to coaching, would be important things to try to figure out.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with both Lisa and Jamie. And also, it's also about understanding like what you're looking to get out of it, right? So, in a lot of times, coaches look for results, which again penalizes not only the players but the whole team itself. And a lot of times, well, I just look at my players and I compare them to I compare themselves to them last year, from last year, how much improvement they made, and I try to like emphasize on that, and that is what that is what I'm always looking for, how they improve us. I became a coach, for that as well, to help them be a better version of themselves, and not just them comparing themselves to, oh, my teammate is better than me at this. Like, not everybody's the same. You only compare yourself to yourself from yesterday and the day before, and so on. So I said that as long as you're seeing that improvement gradually, doesn't mean is what we're looking for. Just because somebody's better than you today, they won't be better than you tomorrow. So understanding the why, and what you're looking out of, uh, what you're looking to get out of it as well, helps out a lot. Like, and a lot of the times we might see that, we might see that a chapter is coming to an end, but yeah, we see a different calling that gives you the same motivation, the same drive to keep on going. So
I think I cut off for a second. Apologies. I've been playing with my mute many times today. I apologize. It's time. um, but before we leave, I realized at time, but we have another little minute. I'd love to squeeze like a one-liner that you leave us with. I know this is probably I find it to do because I don't do well with succinct responses. Answering this question might be you to answer it. But if you could one piece of advice to someone who is looking at you and saying, "Oh wow, I love where Jamie is in life now. I love where Reindorf is in life now." What would you give them as one piece of advice that you think would help them, whether it's coaching, whether it's non-coaching, it is something else? Just someone who, so many of the people who are with us today are listening because they see you as role models, even though you're not directly coaching them currently. And so if you could leave one line or two lines of like little nuggets of wisdom, I'd love to wrap the panel with that. Thank you.
So, like, being of service, I think.
That would be, you're going to be told no a lot in life, and that doesn't need to be your no. That it's, if you want something, you go after it. One person might tell you no, but you're going to find yes. The way I got involved with the California Storm, which I now own the team, is I was volunteering in the snack bar. And so, I mean, you literally don't be afraid to start at the bottom and work your way up. Go in. I was a volunteer, and at the time I was, coaching at a small Christian college, but I said, I want to be here. This is what I want to do. And so I said, Jerry, what can I do? How do I get on the bench with you? And he said, well, we don't have, we need some help in the snack bar. And I was like, well, okay, it's not ideal, but I'm going to go for it. You just need your foot in the door. And then you can, I was the best snack bar attendant I could be. I was there early. I was really pushing the Snickers, it doesn't matter. So I know it's more than your one-liner, but it just takes an opportunity. Somebody will say yes. Keep knocking on that door.
For me, is don't be afraid to make mistakes. Have the confidence to push through and have the confidence to make that mistake as well. As a lot of times we get intimidated by the mistake or even failing to achieve anything. So then we don't try. So again, having that confidence to fail and having that confidence to make mistakes and still keep pushing through.
Oh, wow. I love this. Thank you so much for sharing that last drop of wisdom with everybody that's today. I am so honored to have spent the past 45 minutes with you. Lisa, your story is wonderful and impactful. Jamie, raise your hand. I just can't. The last piece you just dropped of I just did what I had to do this. It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And Reindorf, you being in a place now where you serve a community that you once were a part of and are continuously being a model for your boys and girls is just amazing. Thank you for being on this panel with us. We are going to move into my non-moderator, or I guess now moderator of the larger event format. But to everyone who's listening, and I see people commenting in the chat box, we are going to conclude day one now. And from the content perspective, we will leave the floor open because we want to encourage those connections for those of you who logged on now at the end, you're in the Eastern time, or it was your late lunch break in California, or maybe you're staying up late at night in Kenya. We want as we mentioned, so much recruiting session is not just speaking to recruiters, it's also creating that network. We've heard it. And if there's anything women in soccer can do, is the least things we can do is create the space for you to connect with each other. So by way of segueing into that and also closing out today, thank you to our wonderful panelists once again, Lisa, Jamie, and Reindorf, for sharing your stories. Thank you to everyone who has been on the content side today, sharing insights around hiring practices and equitable approaches to those, and sharing insights around creating a career in content and what does it look like to be someone who's on the front of social media and doing that and advocating for spaces where there's lack of representation, and creating also a career where we use soccer as a Trojan horse and as a vessel for social change. And I see Court saying things in the side, and I want to shout out Courtney Levinson, one of Women in Soccer's co-founders, and normally the person I would give this microphone to address the final words. But I remember when talking to her, hey, Court, what message would you want to share with everyone? And she said, don't forget that Women in Soccer exists by nature just to disrupt the status quo. We exist to change the status quo, to create the space for people who are currently underrepresented. And so for those of you who are about to log off, if that's our one-liner, Women in Soccer will say, thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to invest in yourselves. Thank you for believing in yourself first, taking this as a form of self-care and as a way of nurturing your own career and your own self too. And hopefully this will make you better professionals tomorrow, that you take this back into the space that you work in. Hopefully that ends up being soccer for those of you who are not here yet. And yes, let's disrupt the system, you know, one good decision at a time. And so if women in soccer can be a small part of that story, we are just honored.